In the early years of the Pacific War, Japan moved through the ocean with confidence. Their pilots were highly trained, their air strategy was sharp, and their most famous fighter, the Mitsubishi A6M Zero, dominated the skies everywhere it appeared. For a time, Japan truly believed that its air power was unmatched. American aircraft were slower, weaker, less agile, and simply not built for the kind of dogfighting that the Zero excelled at. Many Japanese pilots assumed the Americans had no answer to their mastery of the air. But in 1943, something unexpected happened. A new sound began to echo through the Pacific, deep, sharp, and frightening. A new aircraft with a strange shape appeared in the sky. At first, Japanese pilots did not understand what they were seeing. It was faster than anything they had faced. It climbed like a rocket, dove like a stone, and could take hits that would destroy a Zero instantly. Japan had no idea that America had been preparing a weapon that would change the entire air war. They had no idea that the United States was about to introduce an aircraft that would shock Japanese pilots, commanders, and engineers alike. This aircraft was the WWII F4U Corsair, an aircraft that would become one of the most feared fighters in the Pacific. Begin in battle. It began years earlier, when the U.S. Navy demanded something that seemed impossible, a carrier-based fighter that could outrun, outclimb, and outfight every aircraft in the world. American designers took this goal and pushed it to the edge of engineering. They built a fighter around one of the most powerful engines ever placed inside a propeller-driven aircraft. They added a huge propeller that required a strange gull-shaped wing to keep the landing gear at a safe height. They shaped the aircraft so it cut through the air with speed and force. When the design was finished, the Corsair looked unlike anything else in the air. It looked aggressive. It looked muscular. It looked like a machine designed purely for power. On paper, it was unbelievable: over 400 miles per hour in level flight, 6 heavy .50 caliber machine guns, armor plating, and a massive engine that could push it beyond the limits most pilots were used to. But new machines always come with problems, and the Corsair was difficult to tame. Early tests showed that it bounced during carrier landings, had poor visibility over its long nose, and hit the deck too hard for comfort. Because of these issues, the U.S. Navy delayed its use on big carriers. Some believed the project might fail. But the U.S. Marine Corps saw the potential and decided to take the fighter into land-based combat in 1943. Japanese pilots were not prepared. They had heard rumors of a new American fighter, but they assumed it would be like the others: slower, heavier, and easy to outturn. But when Corsairs appeared over the Solomon Islands, everything changed. Japanese pilots who engaged them were shocked immediately. The Corsair climbed faster. It dived faster. It executed boom and zoom attacks that the Zero simply could not escape. A Zero pilot might turn tighter, but the Corsair did not need to turn. It attacked from above, fired a burst of powerful machine gun fire, and then climbed back into the sky before the Zero could respond. Reports from Japanese units described the aircraft with confusion and frustration. It was too fast, too strong, too durable. Pilots wrote that shooting it down felt nearly impossible. Some believed it was a new kind of American tactic. Others thought it might be a special limited production fighter. But the truth was simpler and far more dangerous for Japan. America was beginning to mass-produce a fighter that could outperform the Zero in nearly every way. The Corsair's strengths came from simple but powerful ideas. Its huge engine allowed incredible speed. Its strong wings and heavy frame made it capable of absorbing hits that would tear apart a Japanese aircraft. Its 6.50 caliber guns delivered a wall of bullets that destroyed enemy fighters in seconds. Even when the aircraft suffered damage, it often stayed in the air. American pilots frequently returned home with bullet holes, damaged wings, or broken parts, yet the Corsair kept flying. This was something Japanese pilots were not used to. Had thin armor and weak protection. A few hits could cause a fire or break important systems. Japanese aircraft were built light and flexible, which made them dangerous in skilled hands but extremely fragile in combat. The Corsair exposed this weakness completely. As 1943 continued, Japanese commanders realized they were facing a new kind of war. The tactics that worked against earlier American aircraft did not work against the Corsair. The Zero could not climb with it. It could not dive with it. It could not outrun it. The only advantage the Zero had left was turning, but even that became less useful as American pilots learned how to avoid close dogfights. American training improved, American pilots became more aggressive, and the Corsair gave them the tool they needed to win. By the end of the year, stories of this new aircraft spread across Japanese air bases. Many pilots started to fear high-altitude attacks, knowing the Corsair could drop down from above with terrifying speed. Many wrote about the strange shape of the wings. Others described the frightening sound of the engine. One Japanese soldier later recalled, "When we heard that whistle, we knew someone was about to die." That whistle became one of the aircraft's nicknames, Whistling Death. The name came from the sound produced by the air passing through the Corsair's wing root intakes during dives. When the Corsair roared downward in an attack run, the sound was sharp and chilling. It became a psychological weapon. Japanese troops on islands like Bougainville, Guam, and Iwo Jima often dove for cover the moment they heard the noise, knowing rockets, bombs, or machine gun fire would follow. It was a ground attack machine. Its strong frame allowed it to carry bombs and rockets with ease. It could destroy bunkers, supply lines, vehicles, and fortifications. U.S. Marines relied heavily on it during island invasions. The aircraft became a constant presence above the battlefield, forcing Japanese soldiers to move at night or remain hidden during the day. As the war continued, the U.S. Navy solved the Corsair's landing issues. Adjustments to the landing gear, approach technique, and pilot training made it possible to operate the fighter safely from carriers. This was a major turning point. Once the Corsair joined American carriers in large numbers, Japan faced an even bigger problem. Carrier groups now carried not only the reliable Hellcat but also the deadly Corsair. Japanese commanders quickly realized they were outmatched in the air, both in quality and quantity. Japan tried to respond by developing new aircraft, but by the time these designs were ready, it was too late. American factories were producing aircraft faster than Japan could replace its losses. America built thousands of Corsairs, while Japan struggled to maintain even a fraction of that output. Skilled Japanese pilots who were lost in battle were replaced by inexperienced trainees, while American pilot training improved dramatically. The balance of power shifted completely. The Corsair dominated many areas of the Pacific. Its kill ratios were extremely high. In some air battles, American pilots flying Corsairs achieved kill ratios of 8-to-1 or even better. The aircraft's power changed pilot morale. American pilots felt confident. They believed they could face any enemy aircraft and win. Japanese pilots, who once felt untouchable, began to fear engagements. Their confidence faded. Every month, Japan grew weaker in the air. Air bases were destroyed. Fuel supplies were low. Maintenance was difficult. Meanwhile, American carriers moved closer and closer to Japan itself. The Corsair continued fighting not only in the air but also in support roles on the ground. It attacked ships, destroyed airfields, supported invasions, and helped cover massive operations across the Pacific. In the end, Japan was not only shocked by the Corsair's speed, firepower, and durability. They were shocked by America's ability to build it in huge numbers. They were shocked that American pilots adapted so quickly. They were shocked that the Zero, once the king of the Pacific, now struggled to survive. The Corsair became a symbol of American industrial strength and technological progress. Is not simply about an aircraft. It is about a turning point in a war where numbers, engineering, and strategy finally caught up with Japan's early advantages. Japan entered the war with brave pilots and excellent aircraft, but bravery alone cannot stop a machine like the Corsair, especially when that machine is backed by a nation capable of producing thousands more. As the war ended, the Corsair continued to serve for years after, proving its value again and again. For Japan, it remained one of the most shocking and terrifying fighters they ever faced. For America, it became a symbol of victory, innovation, and overwhelming air power. The F4U Corsair was more than just a plane. It was the moment Japan realized that the skies of the Pacific no longer belonged to them. It was the moment the balance of power shifted forever. It was the aircraft that ended the legend of the Zero and announced the rise of American dominance in the air. And when Japanese pilots saw that strange gull-shaped wing and heard that deadly whistle, they knew one thing for certain: the war in the sky had changed forever.